thumbs up. I'm about to give some real pertinent information. Inshallah, some more people will come in and receive this information. I think this information is very critical as it relates to being a Moorish American, due to the simple fact that a lot of information that I'm going to present, as always, I'm going to bring proof and evidence as to what I say. Every bit of proof that I can find, I'm going to deliver it to you. I'm not going to be a talking head. I'm not going to be like other Moorish channels where I'm going to get up here and I'm going to talk your ears off. I'm going to talk your ears off. I'm going to play a little music. I'm going to get a little bit loud. But when I get into the demonstration, I'm going to show and prove. So today, I was given multiple inbox messages. I received multiple inbox messages about the topic of the Supreme Grand Council. One of the main brothers, matter of fact, I'll screen share right now. One of the main brothers that I get a lot of screen inbox was from our brother over there at I Am Hip Hop Temple, Brother Rami Salamel. Now, me and the brother had a few. Brother right here, he did a video, and you know, in the past, me and the brother had a few videos back and forth, you know, coming at each other to some degree, if you will, you know, in YouTube fashion. But for me, I never ever take things that serious. It's not that serious to me. It may seem like it, but hey, you know, I right now I live and I reside in a place. Let me get which. I reside in a place called West Baltimore. Anybody familiar with West Baltimore, you will understand that a YouTube video back and forth is no comparison to the streets of West Baltimore. So I don't take this YouTube stuff that serious anyway, but we did have a few back and forth concerning videos, but concerning understanding of the Moorish Science Temple of America and its paradigm. Let me first and foremost rise and give praise to the great God of the universal law. And let me give honor to his noble prophet, Prophet Obadiah, the universal prophet, your prophet, whether you accept him or not. But let me just say that to my point, a lot of times me and the brother Rami Salamel may have disagreed on some things. And I think a lot of people disagree with me due to misunderstanding. But we have reached a point now where step by step, what I was getting to, we're almost there. In other words, when people would see me address the information put out by Taj Tariq Bey, people thought I had something against Taj Tariq Bey. Emphatically, no. The information that is put out by our elder, Brother Taj Tariq Bey, is an error. An error as it relates to the Moorish Science Temple of America and the teachings of the founder, Prophet Obadiah. Again, no beef with Taj Tariq Bey, but the information that he put out is an error as it relates to the teachings of the Holy Prophet Obadiah. And so I've always addressed the teachings. Whether it be Cujo, whether it be Taj Tariq, or me and Rami Salamel had some words. I really stuck to the information. Now, I bring a little bit of entertainment with it, but for the most part, I stick to the information. Jamal, I stick to the information. Because I know what they know not. You see, first, Rami Salamel, he did a video today, and I would hope that the brother is in the chat today. So if you have any questions, if anybody know Rami Salamel, can you tell him that I am answering his request to do a video about the Supreme Grand Council? Anybody that know me behind the scenes know that I've been talking about this issue for quite some time. You know, they know that I've been talking about this issue for quite some time. Sheikh Montezuma Yakama Bey, he know I've been on this issue quite some time. It just wasn't the right time to bring it to YouTube. Well, I have a pay-per-view presentation coming up called The Myth of the Supreme Grand Sheikh. And in the myth of the Supreme Grand Sheikh, I will be addressing the validity of the concept of Supreme Grand Sheikhs. I will be addressing tomorrow night if it's legitimate, if it's made up. Now we know that the station, as put there by the prophet, is legitimate. But the question remains, are those who claim in that station, are they legitimate? And in this presentation, I will be giving up all of the historical facts as it relates to the Supreme Grand Sheikh position. Okay, we got our brother Rami Salamel in here. That's good. That's good. And I think we'll be able to move forward. You know what I mean? I think we'll be able to move forward, and now you will be able to understand why I addressed things like the elder Taj Tariq or Jamal, and people just think I was just on an attack. In other words, it was getting to this point. We had to get to a build-up, and we have to address the information where we find it, so we can prepare the people to receive what needs to be received. In other words, we got to bring John before we can bring Jesus. Now you have to be a part of the Moorish Science Temple of America to understand that. You know what I mean? And so a lot of what people have seen from Tahaka Bey was the John degree. If you remember John, if you're a Moorish American, in the record it talks about John was the one in the wilderness. He was, hey, prepare, O Israel, prepare to meet your king. Prepare, O Israel, prepare. He was the one out there swooping and hollering, screaming and yelling. But to come behind him, purity paved the way for love. You see, purity paved the way for love. So once the people are ready to receive, now love can come on board. And so this is the degree. This is a true Adat move, in other words. People claim to be Adats, but listen, I'm going to leave that alone. Anybody got ears to hear will be able to catch it. You know what I mean? Anybody got ears to hear will be able to catch it. You see? And so now the people are ready. You see what I'm saying? The people are ready to receive this. And so we're going to give it to the people. We're going to give it to the people. Again, I'm going to give an honor to Brother Rami Salamel for making this an issue. I've heard the brother speak on it before. I heard the brother throw rhetorical questions about the Supreme Grand Council before, and I sit back and I watched it. I sit back and I was like, it's coming. It's coming. And so now we are here. And now, one thing I will say about the brother was on the video that I seen today, what I'm giving is though, it's really not even up for interpretation. Let's get right into it. If those are wishing to learn something, let's get right into it. I mean, Grand Sheikh, T. Johnson Bey, Brother Tahaka Bey. Let's go. Let's read. Let's listen to this.
I also have seen him. Never mind that. But what I'm saying is, I would say for Tahaka needs to create a video about the Supreme Grand Council and just go very simply read the documentation, read what Noble Drew Ali wrote, and then give your perspective. Cujo, read the Supreme Grand Council, give your perspective. Jamal, read and give your perspective. And see what will happen then is
And so I cut it right there. But let me say this. What I'm about to demonstrate, I'm going to bring evidence. The same way that I'm going to do tomorrow on the presentation of the myth of the Supreme Grand Council. I'm going to bring evidence. Anybody who wish to support the Moorish Village and get a ticket to the myth of the Supreme Grand Sheikh, the link is underneath, and I just put the link in the chat. And so I answer the request. I answer the request. What is the Supreme Grand Council? Let's talk about it. So I want to make sure that we be clear after tonight. And this is going to segue into the presentation tomorrow. The myth of the Supreme Grand Sheikh. The link is already in the chat. Also, the link is also in the comment or in the description section. First, let's deal with this. This is one of the changeover documents of the Prophet Obadiah. It's never been changed. It's the same document. You know, the only thing changes in this document, this is an old document, like I said. Tomorrow, you'll be able to receive these documents. If you bought a ticket, I'll be passing them to you. That's the Moorish Holy Temple of Science, Divine Constitution, and Bylaws. The only difference is that in this document right here, it says Holy Temple and Science instead of Moorish Science Temple of America. And the reason why I show that is because I want everybody to know that anything that I show, I'm going to show and prove that nothing has changed. Nothing has changed. So let's get to Brother Rami Salam once more.
Once you put someone on the record, once they have spoken about it, then it's like, You see, like Jamal, that brother said that the Supreme Grand Council is the Congress for our nation. If the Supreme Grand Council is the Congress for our nation, then shouldn't we know?
And he said, so shouldn't we know who our congressman is, our representative? Now, I want y'all to remember that. I want y'all to remember that Jamal, that brother Jamal, Rise of the Moors, says that the Supreme Grand Council is the Congress for our nation. This is why these brothers are unqualified. I'm going to show. Let's get into it. All right. Let me get the screen share right, and let's get into it. Okay. Let me get you on it. Let me get y'all right real quick. I want y'all to get some pens and paper. Pay close attention because we're about to go in. So, what is the Supreme Grand Council and how does it function? Now, as you can see, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And the Prophet Obadiah, right? Now watch this. One of the things, the first thing I want to get to is one more video before I start. Let's go.
Because the thing is that we are supposed to be electing these people into the seats. You know what I mean? And it's just the same as the voting, you know, within the US. And, you know, how you can go cast your vote or whatever and just do it just because everyone's saying go out and vote. But if you are not really educated on the people that are running and what their responsibilities or duties will be, then your vote is really careless.
Okay. So again, I hope my brother Rami Salam is watching. First of all, positions in the Moorish Science Temple of America is not done by a vote. That's first and foremost. As we read the back of the questionnaire, it explains to us, matter of fact, I'm going to bring it up just for the sake that let me bring it up. Moorish questionnaire. There is no vote as it relates to these sorts of positions in the Moorish Science Temple of America. And I'm going to bring it up for you real quick if I can. Let me see if I can get the back of it. And everybody who read it, between the back of the Moorish questionnaire, it tells you to appoint, anoint, and consecrate. That's first and foremost. You have to understand that from a Moorish perspective. You know what I mean? You have to understand from a Moorish perspective. To and peace, may you please read what Noble Drew Ali stated about the Supreme Grand Council. Brother, you got to wait for it, brother. I mean, now, listen to what I'm saying. I'm going to give you that and some more, brother. I'm going to give you that and some more. First of all, you have to understand that there's not a vote. That's first and foremost. There is no vote. It's appointed, anointed, and consecrated. That's the first thing we have to know. All right? Because I need to set this up properly so people can get it. You're not the only one that need to get this. Everybody needs to get it. And how do I verify that? This is the Moorish Guide article 1928 that I pulled out, where it says, it is reported that the prophet, the supreme executive authority, will appoint a Supreme Grand Council, of which he will be the Supreme Grand Chairman. The Supreme Grand Council will have power and duty to control and supervise all the affairs and properties. Never forget, all the affairs, right? And properties of the Moorish Science Temples of America. And it will be the sole judge of what constitute conduct injurious to the order, peace, all right, interests and welfare of the organization, or at variance with the Constitution and bylaws, also the rules and regulations of the prophet, and shall be the sole judge of what sufficiency of evidence by which conduct is shown. I want y'all to hold that thought for a minute. And I'll say again, this is an article out of the Moorish Guide that I just had to had to type out for you, where it says, during this convention period, the Prophet Noble Drew Ali said on October 17 that he was going to appoint 7 men, tried and true, and accepted by you. On the very next day, Noble Drew Ali stepped forward from the chamber room and declared that he now had his number, and said that the grand body had accepted his choice in the setting of the Supreme Grand Council of the Moorish Science Temple of America. And the Prophet Noble Drew Ali declared what their duties in conjunction with the grand body, which consists of all executive rulers. That means the governors, grand governors, etc., etc. Now, let me keep breaking it down. First, you have to understand that the Supreme Grand Council is not a generic term that relates to anybody. The Supreme Grand Council is a council for the Moorish Science Temple of America. So if you're not a member or a part of the Moorish Science Temple of America, then the Supreme Grand Council have no jurisdiction over you. You listen. We may don't like this because we say I'm a part of the Moorish National Divine Movement. No, the Supreme Grand Council was appointed to oversee the Moorish Science Temple of America. And so you would have to be a member of the Moorish Science Temple of America for it to even apply to you. If you're not a member of a Moorish Science Temple of America functioning and operating specifically as the prophet designed it to, it doesn't really apply. But if you are a dues card carrying member, dues-paying, card-carrying member of a functional Moorish Science Temple of America that understand the specification of the operations of the organization, then it applies to you. But if you don't understand what I just said, let me say it one more time. If you're not a part of the Moorish Science Temple of America that's functioning within the capacity as it was designated or designed by the Prophet Noble Drew Ali, then this really does not apply to you. But if you are, and it's functioning properly, this is what you should look for. Prophet Noble Drew Ali said that both ought to work hand in hand with each other. And those who act in the Supreme Council duties were to continue on with each other. And those who act in the Supreme Council duties were to continue on with the day-to-day function of this divine movement. He's talking about the Moorish Science Temple of America. They are continue on with the day-to-day function of this divine movement. Most people think that the Supreme Grand Council is only functional during the setting at convention time. Wrong. Wrong. It's day-to-day functions. I'm going to break it down to you. All right? I'm going to break it down to you. Because y'all thought Tahaka Bay was just hooping and hollering. But this is what we're getting to. All right? And say, while the grand body was to intercede that the Prophet Drew Ali was the law and the head of this divine movement. In other words, the day-to-day function of the Moorish Science Temple of America. That's right. That's right. Okay. Hey, brother, it says movement there, not temple. Okay, let me show you real quick. The Moorish, okay, let's be clear. I don't want to argue with you because you're going to slow me up, but I'm going to show you real quick how the Moorish National Divine Movement and Temple is one and the same. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 minute. I'm going to show you how it's one and the same. It was interchangeable, brother. We can't really finagle that. You know, there wasn't like a movement and then the temple. They was not separate. They were all one and the same, and I'm going to show you momentarily. Give me 1 second. I'm going to show you how it's definitely one and the same. Okay. Here we go. So as you want to, let's see if we can do it real quick. Okay. Give me 1 second. I'm going to show you that the National and Divine Movement in the temple is one and the same real quick. Okay, here we go. I'm about to put it on here real quick. Bam. Let me get it to load up real quick. It's not responding. Here we go. All right. As I said, I like to show and prove. So here we go. So, bro, as you can see right here, let's take a close look at this flyer, right? One thing about this flyer does not say the Moorish National and Divine Movement is one thing and the Moorish Science Temple of America is another. When you look at this flyer right here at the top, the Moorish Divine and National Movement membership is free. And if you read down, it says the Moorish Science Temple of America, meeting at Forster's Hall, 44 State Street, right? Now, this is a flyer that was reproduced from the time of the Prophet. I actually have the same one that has the Moorish Holy Temple of Science on it. So, the Prophet Noble Drew Ali tells you, we are at the office. Let me show it to you so you don't think I'm bluffing you. We are at the office every day at 12 noon until 5 p.m. that you may come take out your membership card. Where are you going to take out your membership card? At the main office, 3718 Perry Avenue. You see? But the Moorish National Divine Movement at the top of the flyer, you follow me? at the top of the flyer. And on the flyer is the Moorish Temple of America. We can't get away from that. They were interchangeable. So when we're talking about the Moorish National Divine Movement and we're talking about the Moorish Temple of America, we're talking about the same thing. There wasn't two separate things. That came in the 80s. Let's move on. So, as you can see this letter right here, let's read this letter. Now, some of those who are think that I think, now some, I'm going to blow it up so you can see it. Some of these letters y'all going to get tomorrow. Now, some of the who are with him are as against the prophet. And I say against the prophet because when you fail to recognize the man, the prophet appointed, again, there is no vote. When you fail to recognize the man, the prophet appointed, and give him your cooperation and support, you have virtually turned down the prophet for someone else. In other words, Emmanuel was writing this letter because of conflict with C. Kirkman Bey and the followers thereof, and he's telling them that the prophet appointed me. He wasn't voted. There isn't no vote. Again, we're going to look at the appointment issue. There is no vote. It's always appointment. It's always appointment. Or the people raise you up to sovereign power. It's always appointment. And I'm going to show you how the appointment works so it can work in such a fashion that is fair. So it says, join the movement January 1st, 1927. And on June the 1st, 1927 was approved of and appointed by the prophet Bowdry Ali. The prophet Bowdry Ali cannot go against his own laws. So everything is appointment. And I'm going to show you how appointments are fair in a minute. As first assistant chairman of the Moorish Temple of America. And the following the approved appointment, I had the support of the entire grand body with a unanimous consent. Remember that word, unanimous consent. Once you are appointed, you must be approved. Consent. Remember that word. In behalf of the prophet's choice and appointment. We always using the term appointment due to the simple fact. We always use the term appointment because there is no vote in the Moorish Temple of America. Everything is done by appointment. And I'm going to share it with you in a second. Stick with me. Appointment from the prophet as general chairman of the said Moorish Temple of America and was made Grand Sheikh under the prophet in February 1928. All right. We are verifying appointment. Again, Emmanuel, once again, many were there when the decision was handed down. Now they claim the judge was never passed the decision. There is no cause for them to be like that. Only that they want to be governed by the truth now. Since the prophet passed, and that is the only hope and security, one great hindrance of my people is they do not understand the words of truth. And that's going on today. Man, y'all better get this myth of the Supreme Grand Sheikh. They don't understand the words of truth, peace, and love as set before them by the great prophet. He said so when he was here. Family, understand. Many people today don't understand the prophet. The prophet said it. Let me stop for a minute. I get worked up. The prophet said it when he was in the flesh, that they didn't understand him. And I'm telling you right now, all of these claim to be leaders do not understand the prophet. But I'm going to help you have understanding today. I'm going to help you understand the prophet today. This is what I've been working for. Thank you, Rami Salamil, and all those who's interested to know. This is what I've been working for. Let's go. I get worked up. Y'all got to work with me. I know it might annoy some people, but I gotta get it out. So it says, and the prophet said, he said so when he was here. He told them if they understood the language, they would be all right. And I'm going to tell these leaders today, if they understood language, they would be all right. I'm so sorry for them, because not knowing, they blame me for all that has happened. That's Emeliel. They blame me for all that has happened. Yet when the prophet was here, he told them. He brought the divine plans of the ages, and they can't be changed. And the plans are called the plans of redemption. This is the purpose that I'm doing the myth of the Supreme Grand Sheikh, because the divine plans of the ages cannot be changed. They cannot be changed. They cannot be changed. Some people try to change the plan. Then, this is what he said. And this Redeemer called me, ordained me, commissioned me, and then appointed me to my station. There is no, listen, let me tell you something. When we talk about the divine plan of the ages, it's a specific plan. It's a specific plan. This is not a catchphrase. It's a step by step plan of redemption, earthly and divine. If your leader has not broken down the step by step plan, there is no way that you're on the divine path of Prophet Noble Drew Ali and the totality. There is no way. There is no way. Those who are part of the noble temples, they understand this. There is no way. We have joined the buddy club. We like personalities. I'm going to get you into the truth. And you can stick with personalities all you want, but I'm going to get you into the truth. Let's get with it. So, again, he's talking about appointment. Now, this is another letter. The Prophet Noble Drew Ali said we should have such bodies like other nations do. This is indicative of being a nation. Like other nation, it's semblance that we are a nation. This is why I tell people, kill with the consular court, kill with the Moorish American governments, kill that, join the Moorish Science Temple of America, learn how this operation, this organization turns into a full-fledged functioning nation and turns into a real nation. So did I appoint 5 new officers to act in the Supreme Grand Council. Again, in the same fashion as Prophet Noble Drew Ali, Emeliel is appointing 5. In the same fashion that the prophet appointed him, you see the same thing. So I did appoint 5. Because we know after 1929, things went a little bit haywire. People were gone out of the, I would say the word gone from the Supreme Grand Council. They had to be replaced. And so Emeliel appointed 5 new officers. And they were accepted. Remember that. Accepted. They were accepted. All right? Last but not least. Last night in the Adab Chamber during the 2nd annual convention, Bro Emeliel, the Supreme Grand Sheikh, came forth and made the following statement and gave a brief explanation on the subject of the Supreme Grand Council and its relation to the Grand Body, the Moorish Science Temple of America. Brother Emeliel declared that they have filled the vacancies of the Supreme Grand Council. He told us that during the last days of the convention that we will all know who was on it, and it would work with the Grand Body of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Also, the Holy Prophet Noble Drew Ali was its Supreme Grand Chairman and its Supreme Head still. Bro Emeliel also said that now the supreme will of the Prophet Noble Drew Ali will be over the temple. This is again This is again, you have to understand, over the temples. You must be a part of the temple under the jurisdiction for it to apply to you. Once more, and that they would act as officers of their home officer, so that business could continue year-round. And in the absence of the presence of the grand body, the Moorish Temple of America, who return across the country after convention in time, so that the movement will be not at standstill. So for all those who think that the Supreme Grand Council only are functioning according to convention, you're wrong again. You're wrong again. What happened is when they convene, that's when they demonstrate the same degree as the Supreme Court. That's when they demonstrate as the Supreme Court. But they function year-round. They function year-round. I'm going to break it down to you, family. I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you, man. Man, listen, man. Let me get some thumbs up. I got 22 thumbs up. Can I get some thumbs up, man? Is y'all getting this? Sisters, y'all getting this? Huh? Let's get some thumbs up real quick. Huh? Listen. We move as the Moorish Temple of America Noble Temples. And we are styled as the Noble Temples due to the fact that we are going to do it the way that the noble prophet did it. We are going to do it the way that the noble prophet instructed us to do it. And we're going to move like the noble prophet will bless us to do it. The ancestors will bless us if we do it like the noble prophet did it. We ain't doing unapologetically. We ain't asking your permission. We're not asking your permission. So don't come asking me by what authority. We're not asking your permission. We're not asking. That's it. We honor our brother and our friend D. Baliel, who commissioned me, who appointed me. That's what my papers say. But other than that, we're not asking your permission. I don't know who y'all think y'all is saying, well, who appointed you? Well, let me say, my papers say D. Baliel. And as my assistant Grand Sheikh say, by a law authorities. Because let me tell you something. Once something is not moving on the divine path, every Moorish American that knows ought to step forward and put it together. Every Moorish American that knows the truth ought to step forward and put it together. Let me give you an example. If 100 years from now, right, the Moorish Temple of America just disappear off the face of the earth, right? And somebody finds documentation of the organization, and they decide, oh, we was visited by a prophet. Are they going to wait for somebody to appoint them to put this organization back together, or are they going to move on it for the redemption of our people? They going to move on it. So don't ask me no questions. Let's go. Honor to the brother D. Baliel. That's my brother, my friend. Let's get it. But anyway, let's talk about how this works. So, when you look at the Supreme Grand Council and you look at the appointment, as I just showed, there is something that is called confirmation hearings that you see in the Republican form of government. In the Senate, honor to my assistant Grand Sheikh, because he pulled this right out my head as I was putting it together today. There's something called confirmation hearing. It's a hearing held by the U.S. Senate to gather information on whether to approve or reject candidates for high federal office who are nominated or appointed by the president, right? That's called a confirmation hearing. This is why the Prophet Obadiah makes the statement. Emeliel, with in the following approved appointment, I had the support of the grand body with unanimous consent. Unanimous consent is a confirmation. Most people don't even know how to have a confirmation hearing because they too busy electing people. They too busy voting. They too busy voting, so they don't know how to make a confirmation hearing. And so what they call it, the Prophet Obadiah Ali say, accepted by you. It's basically a hearing that is held by the grand body to gather information on whether to approve or reject appointments for high positions such as position on the Supreme Grand Council, who is appointed by the Grand Sheikh and chairman. All right? And all I did was copy the same thing. It is what it is. This is why the Prophet Obadiah Ali up here say, the Supreme Grand Council had the power to control and supervise. Hold on. It is reported that the Prophet is supreme authority and will appoint a Supreme Grand Council, which will appoint. And then when you go right here, there were 0.7, tried and true, accepted by you. That's called a confirmation hearing. All right? That's called a confirmation hearing. You follow me? It's called a confirmation hearing. I don't know why people get into this voting stuff. You know what I mean? Confirmation hearing for these positions. All right. Y'all with me? So, when you look at the Supreme Grand Council, right? Let me show you how the Supreme Grand Council works. First of all, the first list that came out by the Prophet is the one that people like to use, right? And so the list is right here that they like to use. Prophet Obadiah Ali was the supreme head and supreme chairman, supreme grand chairman. Brother Emmanuel was the supreme grand sheikh. Brother James Lomax Bey was the supreme grand governor. Now, when you start to go down on this list that was first released, you don't see much of anything. Some people have something right here as the position. Some people have something right here. No, he's Supreme Grand Business Manager. Some people have something right here. But some people wonder, what in the world? Where's the record and video of these confirmation hearings? It's brother, I am hip hop. Let me stop for a second. Brother, I'm just showing you how it works. I'm just showing you how it works. Brother, we know that many people are concealing a lot of records as it relates to the teachings of the Prophet Obadiah Ali. I found some of the records. I've seen some online. I just had the ability to piece it all together. I had the ability to piece it all together because I've traveled. I've seen things. I've studied the Moorish Science Temple of America inside and out. Heck, I'm still waiting on the videos of the Prophet. I mean, the videos of Prophet Obadiah Ali and the audio of Prophet Obadiah Ali. So you're asking me a question. I'm telling you that there is still some things that we have not came upon yet. But I'm showing you how this works. This is a Republican form of government that the European, that the European. But he said, I hope I have to be leaving now about who the current members of the Supreme Grand Council. I will. Absolutely. But this is a Republican form of government. You see, the Republican form of government that we see in the United States was hijacked from our ancestors. But here we go. Here we go. So, when you look at the Prophet Obadiah Ali as the supreme head, you look at Bro Emmanuel as the supreme Grand Sheikh, and you look at Bro Lomax Bey as the supreme Grand Governor. Ross Bay, you will find would be blank. Then you see Claude Green, the Supreme Grand Business Manager. Then Blackwell Bay, he would be blank. But actually, on some of them, they say he was the treasurer. Right? But now, I've came across this document right here. And on this document right here, you get to see, matter of fact, let me grab another one real quick so it can be more clear. Supreme Grand Council. You know, I want to show y'all this document right here. Give me 1 second. Okay. Let me see if I can. I want to get this document to you real quick. All right. So here we go. So I came across this document in my journey right here. And what this document is, it's actually a, what you would call, oh my goodness, how did that happen? 1 second. Let me do it again. Do it one more time. Copy that. Bam. So in reality, this document in which I'm going to show, which I just showed a piece of, is actually stationary. And many people might look at this stationary and be like, stationary. They got to do with anything. Well, as you can see on this stationary, as the Supreme Grand Council, right? And on the side of this stationary, it has the positions. Prophet Obadiah is the Supreme Grand Chairman. Lomax Bey is the Supreme Grand Governor. Miliel is the Supreme Grand Sheikh. Ross Bey is the Supreme Publicity Director and Supreme Grand Field Secretary. Claude Green Bey is the Supreme Business Manager and Secretary of the Supreme Grand Council. Brother H. Moore Bey is the Supreme Historian. You follow me? You got me? Okay, let me answer a question real quick. So, Kazan Jahib Johnson said, so what are you saying? Is the Moors don't have to have a choice? They have to accept their leader? No, Kazan. It's just like a confirmation hearing. When those have our documents to move forward, need to move forward so we can move. So look, when one is appointed, Kazan, you with me? When one is appointed, right? What happened is it have to be confirmed. So say, for instance, the Prophet Obadiah appoints Emiliel, and he present him to the grand body as the Supreme Grand Sheikh and the rest as the Supreme this is Supreme that. What happened is the grand body, when it's in session, it says, well, we approve that appointment or we confirm that appointment. And it's not a vote. What happened is, yeah, I'm giving away all these clips. I'm giving away it all. Whoever bought a pay-per-view, I'm letting y'all download every letter that I'm reading tonight and the other ones that I have. So what happens is that if Emiliel was a whoremonger, then somebody in the grand body would say, no, I don't approve that. He's a whoremonger. And according to the Holy Quran, such and such and such and such, this is unacceptable. So he wouldn't be confirmed. You know what I mean? It's called confirmation. So no. So, and then you got to understand how the grand body worked too. You see, you got to understand how the grand body worked too. The grand body is not so much the members. The grand body is the grand sheiks and the heads of all temples. They represent the constituents, their membership. And so when the grand governors or the governors, grand sheiks, when they come into session at convention, they represent the voice of their members. You see? And so when you're talking about a confirmation, a grand sheik or a governor is one to say, well, no, I can't accept that because Emeliel was XYZ. And that's why he said he was accepted unanimously. Nobody could pull any fault with the brother, so he was accepted. You see? And that's different than a vote. You see, vote can go with personality. And this is why I say, and Prophet Noble Drew Ali is the supreme grand head. Because you can only see a vote means that I like you. A confirmation means that I don't like something about your character, so it's unacceptable. And according to the teachings of the Prophet Noble Drew Ali, the supreme grand head, you're not right for this position. I don't confirm that. Those that's on the council, they see like, man, you got to appoint there. Nah, we can't confirm that. That's not a vote. You're looking at the holy and divine teachings of the Prophet Noble Drew Ali to measure who's accepted. That's why a vote is not good in a theocracy. It's not good because you're not going according to the holy and divine lessons. You're going for the mere ideas of man. Because I might like you. I might like Mo Melon. Mo Melon might be straight crook, but because I like you and you're charming, you got my vote. The Moorish Temple of America don't operate like that. And anything that's functioning like that, in reality, it's not on the divine path or the divine plan of the ages as taught by the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. It's just not. You can call yourself what you want. You can have a bunch of seals. You can have a bunch of paperwork. You can have a bunch of stamp of approval by Europeans. It doesn't matter. If you're not functioning as it was designed to function by the Prophet Noble Drew Ali, for one, it ain't going to work. It's not going to be successful. For number two, it's not the Prophet's movement. But let's get on into the next slide. I don't want to keep you too long because y'all getting a lot of information here. And y'all wonder why we doing this pay-per-view. Because y'all got to help support the Moorish village. That's right. So, let's look at the daily function of the Supreme Grand Council. First of all, the Supreme Grand Chairman, the Prophet Noble Drew Ali's title, or the Supreme Grand Head, oversees the entire movement. What is the Supreme Grand Head? How does it oversee the entire movement? The Supreme Grand Head, the Supreme Grand Chairman, is the truth of the Holy Quran of the Moorish Temple of America, the truth of the Divine Constitution and bylaws, the truth of the additional laws. That is the standard. That's the Supreme Grand Chairman. That's the Supreme Grand Head. How do we know that? Because when Emeliel, again, let me go to what Emeliel said. He said, in this letter right here, he said that the Prophet Noble Drew Ali is still, here we go, right here. Second paragraph. Bro Emeliel declared that he had filled all vacancy of the Supreme Council. He told us that during the last days of the convention that we will all know who was on it and how it would work with the grand body of the Moorish Temple of America. And also that the Holy Prophet Noble Drew Ali was its Supreme Grand Chairman and its Supreme Head still. Right? Its Supreme head still, right? So when we're talking about the supreme, when we talk about these positions, we're talking about all the laws of the prophet. As my brother Sparks say, don't forget the supreme laws. Exactly. All the laws of the prophet is what the movement is measured by. But now, what is the daily function of the Supreme Grand Governor? Now, I just pieced this together real quick for this presentation, but you'll get the gist of what I'm saying. The daily function of the Supreme Grand Governor is to ensure that the Grand Governors and governors throughout the Moorish Science Temple of America are functioning. Let me put this up here for somebody. Are functioning lawfully. You see, are functioning lawfully and interprets the laws thereof. This is a daily thing. This is the daily thing. Right? This is a daily thing. The Supreme Grand Governor must be in law on the daily basis. Follow me? The Supreme Grand Sheikh, he does that for all the Grand Sheikhs. Ensure that Grand Sheikhs throughout the movement are functioning lawfully. They're doing the same thing. Checks and balances is called. It's called checks and balances. We don't want nobody to get off course. So when you look at Ross Bay, he was the Supreme Grand Publicity Director. He was the media wing. He made sure that the media that was being produced by us or that was concerning themselves with us was given the proper information. Kind of like the FCC. And he did it on a daily basis. This was Ross Bay, the Supreme Business Manager. The same thing. The Supreme Business Manager made sure that the businesses of the Moorish Science, I got you, Novon Thomas, my bad, that the businesses of the Moorish Science Temple of America is functioning within law. You can't sell weed just because weed is legal now. So the Supreme Business Manager say, man, you know what? They made weed illegal in Nevada. Man, we got a temple in Nevada thinking that it's okay to sell weed. Man, shut that down. Because the prophet teaches us that you must not be under any influence that may cause to be detrimental to the movement. That you must not have any substance that will alter your perception. So the Supreme Grand Business Manager, he says, no, I don't care if this government has said that marijuana is legal. You must obey hereby. Hereby what? Hereby the laws of the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. The Supreme Grand Business Manager makes sure that all the businesses of the Moorish Science Temple of America is running and up with the most high moral standards. You know what I mean? You ain't selling pork chops at your cookout. You know what I mean? You ain't selling pig feet because they got a sale for $1,300 for 50 cents. You understand? So that's the Supreme Grand Business Manager. Again, the Supreme Grand Historian. He confirmed the historicity of the Moorish Science Temple of America to ensure that the public is getting the true history. You follow me? To ensure that the public is getting the true history of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Then you got the Supreme Grand Secretary, who oversees the daily functionality of all secretaries throughout the Moorish Science Temple of America to ensure that they are operating properly according to law, that their minutes are taken, that the rosters are taken. etc., etc., etc. These are the daily functions of the Supreme Grand Council, right? Not this one. Forget that. That's when I was putting it together. All right. You mean? So, here we go. Let me look at some questions real quick, because I done gave you a whole bunch to digest, right? I just gave you a whole bunch. So brothers say, some say it's medicinal. Yeah, but if it alter your mind in any shape or form, the prophet speaks against that. You know what I mean? It can be medicinal. You just can't hold a position of leadership. You just, not according to the prophet. You know what I mean? Not according to the prophet. Weed may be medicinal. I'm not going to argue that point. But the point of the prophet Obadiah Ali, does it alter your mind in any form? I mean, you follow me? Does it alter your mind in any form? You know what I mean? And so my brother said, man, only business attached to the temple would need approval, not personal businesses. Well, brother, personal businesses too, because when you become a part of a body politic in a true sense, you are moving as a nation. It's not about an individual no more. Nothing is personal in the body politic no more. Nothing is personal in a Moorish society no more. Nothing is personal. Nothing. Everything you do, well, it's like this. If we've seen this happen many a times, where college students, right, they in the most prestigious college, right, and then they find a racist video before they was in college, or a racist rant on IG. You know what that college gonna do, right? if they can't sweep it under the rug, you know what that college gonna do, right? They get you up out there. Because your antics is going to give a black eye to the college. You follow me? And so that's the same thing. Hold on. We say, oh, we say Supreme Grand Sheikh take gifts from members to the prophet, but keeping it for the I don't know, brother. Some Supreme Grand Sheikh taking gifts from the members to the prophet, but keeping it to themselves. Hey, brother, hold on. Let's get into it. So listen, family. Oh, I got a few more minutes to go because I don't want this to be long because I got to get ready for the show tomorrow. So, when you look at the grand body of the Moorish Temple of America, what you're looking at right here, you're looking at a snapshot. You're looking at a snapshot of one of the first original 19 warranted temples in the Moorish Temple of America. Okay? This is what you're looking at. Right? And so let me real quick want to show y'all, if I can, want to show y'all something real quick. I want y'all to pay attention to this because I'm going to give y'all a lesson on this. And I know they don't want Ta'aka to be this sharp, but I just studied the prophet. You know what I mean? Oh, no, the council can't prove somebody's personal business. I agree with that. All right. So listen. So when you look at this, right, notice this. First of all, this is how we have to study the prophet. We have to study the prophet from historical accounts because people didn't put the Mickey in the drink. So when you look at temple number 1, you see Grand Temple number 1. You follow me? All right. You see Grand Temple number 2. You see Grand Temple number 7. You see Grand Temple number 10. You see Grand Temple number 13. And then you see Temple 16. Notice that each Grand Temple is ran by a Grand Governor. Grand Governors ran Grand Temples. There wasn't Grand Sheikhs in Grand Temples, right? So grand governors, grand sheiks ran temples, right? And as you can see on here, you will also notice that during the time of the prophet, and I'll show you something else. During the time of the prophet, there was no title of a temple called subordinate temple. I'll show you what the prophet called his temples in a minute. Temple number 2 ran by a Grand Sheikh, White Bay. Grand Temple 5, Grand Governor Crumley Bay. Grand Temple 8, Grand Governor Brown L. Temple 11, Governor Bro Thompson. Temple 14, Grand Sheikh. You got to understand the difference between a governor and a Grand Sheikh and a Grand Governor. These are 2 different things. I mean, 3 different things. But this is how the body politic is put together. When you start to understand the difference between a Grand Sheikh, a governor, and a Grand Governor, and the function thereof, then you can start to move on the body politic and the nationhood degree. If you don't understand that, you can never move on it. Now, real quick, I want to stop for a second, and I want to show you how the Prophet Obadiah Ali called his temples. So it's, man, y'all listen, we got a lot of things to fix in the Moorish Divine and National Movement. A lot of things to fix. I'm going to show you what the Prophet called his temples. This is why we move like the noble temples. Show you what the Prophet called his temples. In 1 second, let me, if I can. Okay. I'm going to show you what the Prophet called his temples. Not what people call them today and faking people out. Subordinate temple this, subordinate temple that, branch temple this, branch temple that. We have been following the elders, and you know it is. Listen, somebody said, what happened to free will? Brother, don't be a part of the Moorish Temple of America. That's all we can say to you. I mean, the Moorish Temple of America is a nation. I mean, join the nation, get in the court, and let's rock. You know what I mean? So here we go. So when you look at the Prophet Obadiah Ali's temples, right? Let me show you how the Prophet Obadiah Ali classified his temples. Here we go. I'm about to screen share real quick. Give me 1 second. And then I'm going to get to my final point. We're going to close out because I want y'all to get these lessons. I want y'all to go back and study it. You know? All right, here we go. So, the Prophet never called his temples subordinate temple this and subordinate temple that. You see what he called his temple? Charleston Temple, number 2. Milwaukee Temple, number 3. Y'all see what we're looking at, right? Richmond Temple, number 6. Cleveland Temple, number 7. Newark Temple, number 10. Philadelphia Temple, number 11. Baltimore Temple, number 13. Petersburg Temple, number 14. So, that's what you have to know. The Prophet did this for a reason. Listen, the Prophet did this for a reason. Let me show you something. If you don't know why the Prophet did that, then there's no way you can understand this divine plan of the ages. There's no way that you can understand it. There's a lot of things that you can understand, but there's no way that you will be able to understand the divine plan of the ages. So, when we move on, it's strictly Drew Ali, unapologetically. You follow me? So, what we in the noble temples do is, we share this with you real quick. When you look at California Temple, it's a study group actually. This Baltimore Maryland Temple, number 22, right here. This Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. This is 33. Atlanta, Georgia, temple number 33. You see? And we only use noble temple to be distinctive, to show and prove that we're going to follow the prophet's noble dry lead guidelines. You know what I'm saying? So we and if you know how to read a charter, you will understand. If you know how to read, turn off the comments, I do. All right. If you know how to read a charter, right? If you really know how to read a charter, you will understand, number one, why the prophet. This is some stuff that you have to really be in tune with. If you know how to read a charter, you will understand why the prophet uses these terms. Charleston Temple number 2, Milwaukee Temple number 3, Richmond Temple number 6. If you knew how to read a charter, you will understand why he specifically calls them that, as opposed of a generic term, subordinate temple. You see, that's a generic term. Like, for instance, when you look at a lot of bodies and they call themselves subordinate temples this, subordinate temple that, branch temple this, branch temple that, branch temple 22, branch temple that, I'm telling you, that's out of law. You cannot understand the divine plan of the ages. You cannot realize it if you don't understand these simple things right here. You cannot put together a body politic if you don't understand these simple things right here. Now, so these are the original temples. You see? Right here. Right? So, now let's get into the grand finale. Let's get into the grand finale. When you look at the brother Jamal, he said that the Supreme Grand Council is like our Congress. Wrong. You're totally wrong. You're extremely wrong. You're so wrong that we can't get along. No, I'm playing. So the Supreme Grand Council is hijacked from our ancestors. So when you look at the United States government, you got the legislative, the executive, and the judicial branch. The legislative is the Congress, the Senate, the House of Representatives, right? The executive is the president, the vice president, the cabinet, right? The judicial is Supreme Courts and other federal courts, right? You follow me? The same thing that we demonstrate, right? When you look at the legislative branch is the grand body, the grand governors, grand sheiks, governors. You follow me? Yeah, I'll go over this tomorrow if people want me to review it, no problem. The executive branch, the grand sheik and chairman, the assistant grand sheik and his cabinet. Remember, it says cabinet. When the Prophet Obadiah said, I'm going to leave the European here long enough to teach you how to run a government, they hijacked the way that we ran a government with our people. So it's very easy to learn. So when you look at the cabinet, you're talking about the secretary, the treasurer, the business manager, et cetera, et cetera. That's the whole cabinet. You follow me? And the same functionality as the executive branch, because the office of the presidency is only represented by Donald Trump. But there's an office of the presidency which consists of the cabinet. You follow me? And then the Supreme Grand Council is like the Supreme Court, interprets laws for the grand body and other federal courts interprets the laws for the local temples. Just like I was talking about everyday business affairs. So the judicial branch is the Supreme Grand Council, the executive branch is the Grand Sheikh and Chairman, which would be equivalent to the president, and the legislative be the grand body. You know what I mean? You follow me? So tomorrow, the myth of the Supreme Grand Sheikh. The myth of the Supreme Grand Sheikh is going down tomorrow. And my brother is back and asked me, who were the members of the Supreme Grand Council? Brother Salam Ramiel, unfortunately, I can't give that out to after tomorrow. I can't give that out to after tomorrow because I will be discussing that on my pay-per-view, The Myth of the Supreme Grand Sheikh. And everything that I showed tonight, you will have that. Salam El, listen, brother, I'm building a community here in Baltimore. I give away a lot of information, brother. I broke down the Supreme Grand Council, how it functions. And I would have anybody on the show that would dispute my breakdown. You follow me? But Rami Salam El, I'm definitely going to give you that information. Brother, if you email me at taharkabay@yahoo.com, I will personally talk to you, brother. If you're sincere, if anybody's sincere, you know what I mean? But the point of the matter is, I'm confused. I wonder, this can't be smoothed over. What can't be smoothed over, family? So I just broke down the Supreme Grand Council, and I just gave a quick breakdown. I can get more intricate. I can get more intricate as it relates to the complete functionality of the Supreme Grand Council. It's easy to do. I've studied this so many times because I know that it's missing. And in order to run a nation, there is no way we can leave that out. There is no way. And so now, to answer Rami Salam El question in part, do you see anybody doing that? Everything I explained? Do you see any Supreme Grand Sheikh functioning like that? Family, press 1 if you see any Supreme Grand Sheikh functioning just like the presentation I gave up. Press 2 if there is not a Supreme Grand Sheikh functioning like that. Press 1 if you have seen a leader, Supreme Grand Sheikh, or any leader functioning in the capacity of what I just broke down. And press 2 if there is no leader. 1 if it is, 2 if it's not. One if it is, 2 if it's not. I'm not worried about them judging because, you know what I mean, they can't get this lesson. You know what I mean? Because it ain't for them. I mean, anybody. 1 if it is functioning like I broke it down, 2 if it's not. Goodman Bay, who? Goodman Bay, I'm going to ask Goodman Bay, who? I'm asking, I just broke down Woods Islam. I just broke down the functionality of the Supreme Grand Council. And for all those that we know as Supreme Grand Sheikh, I say press 1 if we know one who functioning in that capacity, press 2 if not. You was here the whole show, Mo Mellon. The way that I broke down the Supreme Grand Council and the functionality, can you find one that function like I broke down tonight? Press 1. And if you can, I want you to name them. I want to talk to them. Who, Mo Mellon? Who? Can you tell us who you're talking about? I'm trying to find out, those who press 1, can you tell us who functioned in the full capacity of the Supreme Grand Council? No, they do voting. They vote. They vote. They vote, family. I just said the Supreme Grand Council is not done by vote. The Resurrection Moorish Temple of America. Under what leadership? There's quite a few resurrections here in Baltimore. Under what leadership? And if that's the case, let me ask you this. Who is the publicity director of the Resurrection Moorish Temple of America? Who is it? Do you know? And I'm not throwing shots at anybody. I'm just curious. Who is the publicity director? Who is the Supreme Grand Publicity Director? I don't know. I don't know, brother. Who is the Supreme Grand Publicity Director? And is that his title? That's right. And how can we see the members? I mean, where we at? Your brother Sheikh. Who? Brother, I got a lot of brothers over there. Brother Johnson Bay. I got 2 Johnson Bays over there. Come on. All right, man. That's I want to see the Supreme Grand Council functioning. Whatever, family. But what I'm saying is this. When a full functioning Supreme Grand Council is operating, they are in the public and they are having meetings with the Council of Baltimore and with other council trying to get things moving. The Supreme Grand Council, is more than some closed room and people talking about stuff. The Supreme Grand Council is much more than that. It's much, much more than that of some closed room. I mean, I'm just telling you. If you don't see that, then we don't see the profit movement. With that, I'm gonna say peace, family. Hopefully y'all got your tickets. I'm gonna put the link here one more time. Hopefully y'all got your tickets and get the Myth of the Supreme Grand Sheikh tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I will be starting at 6 to make sure I work out any glitches, anything that could go wrong. And we are going to get busy. All right? So I appreciate everybody. If we want to realize, as Emilio said, this divine movement, it cannot be changed. Once it has been changed, it loses its divinity. All right? Once it's been changed, it loses its divinity. And I want to share with you one more time. Let me share with you one more time so we can be clear. And my Taj Tariq voice, are we clear? My Taj Tariq voice, are we clear? I got to get you clear. So look, let me screen share this real quick. Screen share, then I'm going to get out of here. And I can't say it enough. Y'all can move on all of these plans you got. The only, hold up. One great hindrance to my people is they don't understand the prophet. One great hindrance of my people is that they don't understand the words of truth, peace, and love as set before them by the great prophet. He said so when he was here and told them if they understood language, they would be all right. Right? I am sorry for them because not knowing, they blame me for all that has happened. But yet the prophet was here. He told them. He brought the divine plans of the ages. And they cannot be changed. And the plans are called the plans of redemption and were bought only by the Redeemer, by a Redeemer. And this Redeemer called me, ordained me. Family, I'm going to tell you once again. If the divine plan of the ages have been changed and you don't see it on the ground, there is no redemption. There is none. You can join whatever group you want. You can join whatever paperwork clan you want. You can do all of this stuff that validates what you think is Moorish science all you want. If you don't know the specifications of the plan, you're circling the desert like Moses and the Israelites. And you will continue to circle the desert for 40 years. Circle around and round and round. If you don't know the plan, the divine plan, be prepared to chase your tail for another 40 years. With that, I'm out here. Everybody's welcome to join the Noble Temples, Moorish Science Temple of America, as we move on the divine plan of the ages. Unapologetically. We're not asking for permission. The door of religious freedom swings open to everyone. And we walking through that door. Honor to the prophet, honor to brother E. Meliel, honor to sister D. Meliel, honor to my brother D. Baliel, and honor to each and every one of you, 90 people that's watching the show right now. I hope to see y'all tomorrow in the Myth of the Supreme Grand Sheikh pay-per-view presentation lecture. And anybody who has purchased a ticket within 24 hours, you will receive every slide that I use into your email. All right? All right? Islam. Peace and love. I'm up out here. I gotta go. Peace, love.